claim a bike is riding better a year on than when it was new, obviously I've made some changes to the bike and I've been doing some maintenance. So just going to have a quick bike check, talk you through a few things, and this is still my favourite bike in terms of, yeah, the all-rounder go-to, and it doesn't feel like an e-bike to me anymore because I have this in full fat. So for me, this is kind of almost a non-e-bike, almost, strange as that sounds. Okay, about I think 8 months ago, got the Lyric Ultimate with the charger free. Amazing fork, 160mm travel. It's got that sort of perfect balance of stiffness and that kind of little bit of flex, and just that middle section, the middle stroke, just absolutely bottomless. So love that fork. And thanks to Sprung, as you can see, my local suspension service workshop. And on the shock there you see as well, which is just the Fuel Exe Performance. Thanks to those guys, about a month ago, gave it a proper full service, fork and shock. And yeah, not a paid promotion, just saying they did a really good job. I paid for them to service them both, and she said to me, oh, you need a bit more PSI and a bit less rebound because they'll feel, you know, sort of a lot better. And I was like, oh, I bet you say that to all the riders, but actually to be fair to them, they were really right. So I've had to just make a few adjustments to get used to it, but now I have. It is riding better than ever in terms of the forks feel better and the shock feels better than when it was new, so really stoked with that.
Oh yes, crush that. Oh, bam. Yo.
Forgive me riders, the bike does need a little bit of a clean. It's yeah, it's overdue, but with the weather at the moment, kind of that balance of what's the point and keeping it functional. So you may notice green ceramic jockey wheels for the GX rear mech. Had that for, again, almost a year. Got some nice little marks now, but that thing, fair play, it's, yeah, it's just working perfectly. I think I've not had to adjust it since I set it up. And the jockey wheels are just a little upgrade, having to be green to match the forks, obviously, not a coincidence. And then I've got the Horizon Pro wheel set on front and rear, because I love those wheels. They're light, strong, and that ratchet free hub just sounds like a dream when it gets going. So, well, kind of like a kind of crazy dream, but yeah, when that whir, or almost a purr as well as a whir, just so good. Said this before, I'll say it again, I am now on my third remote, so just watch for those because I'm going through those. But, and this is where I don't want to tempt any problems, the TQ motor, over a year on, over 2,000 kilometers, again, don't want to tempt anything, but I have to report honestly, just absolutely faultless, just works. The range on the battery seems about the same as when I got it, maybe a tiny bit less now, but it's hardly noticeable, or yeah, I can't concrete say that really, just maybe spotting that a bit, but the actual motor works just as well as when I had it when it was new. So again, until that, I won't change it. Same cranks. They do have keep an eye on the bolts for these. I've noticed they kind of work their way loose over time, so even if you torque them correctly, I don't know if that's a thing with the but yeah, that's what I'm finding, so just a heads up.
Whoa, hey, whoa, whoa, hit the bush with you, why not?
Do you know, I've actually got a spare seat post in my garage, like a one-up dropper, so a really good one. I think it's the same length, but and I've got a shim to, because this is I think this is like 34.8 seat tube if I remember a tray. It's a pretty chunky one, but you know, that's the same one, like the Brand X Value basic one that from when I bought it, and I've kind of been wanting it to break, so then I can just put the other one on it to kind of almost upgrade, and it sat there. I thought, oh no, I'll just wait, you know, I'm sure it'll break soon because it's not a great one, but it's working as well as the day I had it. I haven't touched it deliberately because I kind of want it to fail, but now it's kind of gone to that stage where actually I'm just amazed by how reliable, and I haven't literally touched it and it's just working. So it's kind of earning a place in my heart now, that seat post. I should be sad when I replace it. Strange how things work out on a bike. These handlebars, the Spank Vibracore, it's the these are the 40mm rise, 800mm I think, or maybe even 820 width. I haven't cut them. They're pretty wide, but it's the rise I like, particularly. But I've had these bars for about 3-4 years. I had them on my old non-e-bike before I got this, took them over, and yeah, just love these bars. So yeah, why change them?
Yo! Oh! Oh!
So this isn't obviously the same bike as a year on when it was new. I've changed a few things, it's got new parts, etc. But some of the fundamentals are pretty similar, you know, but it's just to say a year on it feels like it's riding better than it's new, with those changes, and you know, keeping up on, you know, keeping your brake pads, etc., changing the chain to keep the cassette light, you know, all that stuff. But you know, this is actually riding better to me than it was a year ago, particularly now I've had the suspension all fully serviced sort of a year on. And yeah, it is worth looking after your bike where you can, and there's still more I can do, I'm sure, but you know, just keep the fundamentals of the bike, and a year on it is definitely riding better than the new bike to me. So really stoked about that, and still raving about the Trek Fuel EXE. You know, again, for me, this, when I get on it, I actually forget it's an e-bike, and it's got about 18 to 19 kilo weight, like a, well, almost like a downhill bike, or some of the older bikes anyway. And again, it seems a real good sort of sweet spot for me. So yeah, again, anyone looking at these bikes, I can certainly vouch for the reliability of the motor from my experience so far, the TQ HBR 50, and it's still pretty quiet. So yeah, and still pulls, still seems it's got that constant sort of, you know, it's not that overrun, it's just always there, very sort of linear power. Yeah, so really raving about the bike, and a year on, I'm still really looking forward to the trails I can hit, and I'm feeling more confident on, not less. So yeah, great bike. Thanks for watching, riders. Till the next one.